Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Tuesday, December the 3rd. The year's 2024. Let's talk trading, story, state, strategy. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. And in case Walmall joins the call, your results may differ from his also. The other day I had mentioned about listening to Tony Robbins' video, and he was talking about, story, state, and strategy. And he was saying that the strategy is the least important of the three. And the story is huge. The story is what you tell yourself. And sometimes the story that you tell yourself might put you in a less than optimal state. And when you're in that state, strategy doesn't matter because you're not going to be able to execute. And so, we spend a lot of time on trading plans and strategies and indicators and methods but the thing is, what's the story we're telling ourselves? We have certain beliefs, and that's all part of a story. We have certain desires, certain wants, and that's all part of a story. And what happens is we tell ourselves stories, and then we don't always see clearly. And then we do things that we probably shouldn't have done in the first place. So, you might have, sometimes you'll hear me say, I'm Mr. Inflection Point. And it's like I enter a trade and then it goes the opposite way. And, it's happened more than once. And so what happens is I keep repeating that story to myself, but you'll hear me laugh at it now, so to take some of this, the power away from it. And I just laugh at it. And so what I have to do is say, I entered a trade when my signals tell me to enter the trade, when price is doing what causes me to say, yes, I want to go long. So for example here, we were in this wick zone, and so we had a turn, and it's like, go long. I see a big range bar. I'm thinking price should get back to the open of that bar. Now, it might take it a few minutes. It might take it an hour. It's just like, you saw this big bar here. What price got back to that open? And there's a big bar there. Price got back to that open. And so you start to see these things. You build a little system around it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's what we have to understand about trading. It's I've said this before. It's not like a recipe when you bake a cake. Follow the instructions on the box or out of the recipe book. You should produce the same result just about each and every time. Sometimes you might have a bad batch of flour or something and it doesn't rise like it's supposed to, and you just have to add a little more baking soda, or baking powder. That's off to the side. Fact of the matter is that we can get ourselves all messed up because of the story we tell ourselves. And so, for example, you take your 2 pips here off of this trade, and then price runs to the moon. And you go, oh, dang it, that always happens. But if you stuck to your plan, you don't care about what happens after you exit. You say, I stuck to my plan, I made my 2 pips. Now I'm going to wait for the next setup. And it's just that simple. You know, Walter and I joke about it. So, oh man, as soon as I got out of that line, they brought out a big pot of fresh shrimp. Look at all those shrimp I could have had. But then sometimes you'll see this. You take your 2 pips, and then you get another chance to enter. And it's that simple. So, state. I mean, if you tell yourself these stories, it's like, oh, you know, this always happens. I should have done this. And then you just get yourself worked up into a lather and you can't see straight. You can't trade straight. And then you just wind up taking loss after loss. But that's because you were in a bad state because of the story. So that's why the story is more important. So you have to ask, what story is your overriding or your main story that you keep repeating to yourself? I'd like to know. So maybe you can leave me a comment. So let's go through, look at some charts here, and let's see what's going on with the various currencies in the market here. So, as always, risk management. You know, when your story isn't that good, make sure you have your risk management in place, because you don't want to lose any more than you're willing to lose on any one single trade, right? So we look at the month, and we're below the yearly open on the pound by 50 pips. The day we're 14 pips in the red, 36 off the high of the day and 23 off the low. Oh wow, the inside bar, we're inside all 3 inside bars from 11 months ago, from 3 days ago, and from 36 weeks ago. We tried to break out of that inside bar high from 3 days ago and got rejected. Only 59 pips on the day, but look at those yen pairs. They're all over 100. And actually, I started trading the yen alongside the pound now, because I just see these opportunities. And you can see here, a couple hours ago, we crisscrossed that daily open, a short and then a long. If you're trading the daily open crossover, both would have paid off in a few pips. And the green rats had feasted. Let's put this to the M15 chart so we can get a view. As you can see here, red rats got the feast first, and on the green rats just a couple hours ago. I wonder if Walmart got out of that trade. He said he wanted the price to get down to the 60. He was short. Bambino Flex Indicator says look for shorts near the pivot short, and that last pivot trade would have paid off. And you can see here we've just been pretty much in this region right here, this range between the in the central pivot zone. Basically, we've been out of it a couple times. In fact, we opened below but took out that pivot. So we took out the daily, we've taken out the weekly, and we have not quite taken out the monthly. in and out of that lower wick zone. Once again, previous days lower wick zone. Price, this number just oscillates somewhere between, I think it's 70 and 72. Looking at the last 60, price just does not like staying in that wick zone. Okay, looking at the dashboard here, we're not anywhere near those ATR zones. You can see we put in a low, put in a high, retraced, almost back. There's a whole low trade, almost happened again. Close enough, hand grenade in the 40s, that's the launch pad. Price in the pound likes to launch out of the 40s up to the 60. In fact, Walmart told me, he goes, yeah, he just noticed it seems to almost go to 65, so he'll buy in the 40s and put his TP at 65 and just, leave it alone. Simple price action chart here. You can see we covered the previous M30. We did not cover the M30 from 2 bars ago or 3 bars ago. And you can see these M30 ranges pretty much over 10 pips for the last, 10 bars. Had 3 under 10. Still pips to be made. Looking here at just the 3-level ZZ with the flip-flop boxes. Notice almost a 50% retrace. For those of traders who like the fibs. And just using the line chart, looking at indicator 2, and once again with the flip-flop boxes, you can see just had a short trigger there. And there's a couple of pips to be had. Notice H4 all the way down is red. You might want to ride that trade. Okay, we're in the low wick zone here. Look for a reversal. Looks like a nice big range bar there. Didn't quite get to the top of this big range bar. We'll have to see what happens here. Broke out, making a new lower low. So Walmart should be out of that trade by now. And once again, looking here at the M30 wick zones from the previous M30, we just broke out of that low, putting in a new 3-ball. So, the story we tell ourselves. Can really make the difference, because it'll put us in a certain state, and that state determines how well we execute. So, if you're telling yourself a story and you get all FOMO'd and you enter too soon, or you have fear and it causes you to exit too soon, fear of losing out, because you don't want price to reverse on you. You're just working yourself once again into a lather where you just need to be clear. Tell yourself you're going to execute. You don't control the market, so you're not going to have any pain from how the market moves. You're just going to take your pips when you can, and you're going to control your losses, and then overall you should be successful, because it's not what you trade, It's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.